trying to see if we can get everything up and running. Looks like we are looking here at possibly doing so. Not sure as we said, not sure what's going on here. We're going to see if we can roll it together. There we go. We are live now at Coast to Coast Racing Network. Thought we were before, but we are definitely now here getting ready for heat number 1. All right, coming here. We got 7 cars on the grid. Take another look at your grid here since we didn't get it up there for the got folks over at Coast to Coast. Terry Landis out there in front. Brandon Templeton there second. Jeff Barker in third. Kurt Schatzer there fourth. Pat Boyce there in fifth with Stephen Mixler there sixth. Mike Weeda in seventh. Isaac Bowman is eighth. That is your starting grid. 6 laps the distance. Pace cars pulling up. Terry Landis will lead them here as your leader. In the corner number 3 they go. Heat number 1 on the board. Green flags out there, down and away, down here in the corner number 1. Side by side, look out down there on the bottom. Look at that run, the 513 Jeff Barker gets as he puts it 3 wide down that back straightaway. In the corner number 3 and 4, down there on the inside. The 513 Jeff Barker wings himself up there in the second. As you see, Landis out there in front running that top side right now. Back there in mid-pack, though, we got Pat Boyce having issues back here towards the back, along with Stephen Bixler. They both end up there in the pits as they come roaring out of turn number 4. Down the front straightaway, 3 wide there for second through 5th. Or I'm sorry, second through 4th. Mike Weeda's back here in 5th, the 66 machine. Brandon Templeton working up there behind Landis. Jeff Barker down there on the inside. Really getting that car hooked up down there on the bottom. Down here in the corner number 1 they go. Side by side, here comes that 218. Kurt Schatzer looking up there. Brandon Templeton getting around Landis. Landis now going down there to the inside. He's going to try to do the crossover coming out of corner number 4. Templeton way up high. Here he comes getting that run down the front stretch. Landis now down there on the inside. He's going to try to keep that momentum high. Down there off the corner. Templeton still up top. As now Landis goes up there, he's going to look back down there to the bottom. Quite a bump coming through the bottom side there up to turn 3. Working there off of 4 down here in the corner number 1. Now you're looking at the 161 there up Terry Landis still there in second. Final lap here. Templeton now out there in front. Landis second. Barker third with Schatzer there in fifth. I'm sorry, 4th. Working down there off the bottom. Here they come off of corner 4. And oh no, Landis up into the outside wall. That's going to drop him back into 5th. There you go. There is your heat number 1. Waiting for the results to come in. And here we go. We have here Brandon Templeton getting the win. Jeff Barker there in second. In third, that's going to be Kurt Schatzer, Mike Weeda fourth, Terry Landis fifth, Pat Boyce there in sixth. In seventh, Stephen Mixler. 8th going to be Isaac Bowman. And don't pay attention to that 360 wing sprint there up there at the top. That is not correct. Here we go with heat number 2. Andy Patton will roll him off in front. Now we got him carting here in second is Ryland Banks. Bob the Good there third. Trevor Guru fourth with Randy Shreves in fifth. Jeff Sharp in sixth. Joe Halter in 7th. That is heat number 2 here tonight. These are your hometown heroes tonight. Hey, see Rowland Banks up there in the number 76 up there on the top side of the speedway. Lights are out of that pace car. We're going to go green flag racing here in just a moment. As they head here off of 2, pace car will pull off midway down the back stretch as you'll see them pull into the pit road. Well, I got it more almost at the entrance of corner. No, I guess it is midway down the back stretch. There's him coming here out of turn 3 in the 4. Green flags in the air, they're down and away here at Fort Royal, down here in the corner number 1. Green flag is out, as we said. There you see Bob the Good down there on the inside, sliding up in front of the 76 of Rowland Banks. Not quite there. As he gets up there, the Rowland Banks now way up there towards the outside wall. Letting that bottom side open for the 75, the 75 of Trevor Garou. Working down there on the bottom side. Off the corner, down here in the corner number 1. 75T along with the 76 of Rowland Banks. Running side by side. They're battling for third. Down here out of corner number 2. Down that back straightaway. Look out. Up there against the outside wall goes Rowland Banks. Down there against the inside wall. Or back down there across the front straightaway. Down in the corner number 1. Andy Patton trying to hang on to the lead, but Bob the Good is there on the bottom side, making a good run. Down here in the corner number 3 and 4, ends up getting shoved up. We're going 4 wide almost coming out of turn 4. We see the 87 there of Andy Patton getting shuffled back into 3rd place. Up there against that outside wall. Rowland Banks up there along the top edge. He's going to try to chase down that 7 of Bob the Good. 2 laps to go, coming here out of 4. White flag in the air as they come across. Bob the Good, your leader right now. Rowland Banks in 2nd, Andy Patton in 3rd. Trevor Garou there in the 4th here tonight for the A&J Hometown Heroes. Working there off the corner number 3 and 4. Down there across the front finish line is going to be Bob the Good getting the win. 76 there of Rowland Banks getting 2nd. Andy Patton getting 3rd. All right, here is your Heat 2 results. Bob the Good taking home the win. Rowland Banks there in 2nd. Andy Patton 3rd. Trevor Garou in 4th. And Randy Shreves there in 5th. Joe Halter in 6th with Jeff Sharp in 7th. All right, we're on to the warm-up, so we'll be back here in a few moments.
love, these dollars had come together to support us, and we realized, no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and led to a spinal cord injury. In the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive. So having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
All right, we're back here at the racetrack, ready to set the rock and roll. Here we go. Your grid to start tonight. Brandon Templeton starting out there on the pole. Bob the Good will start second. Jeff Barker in third. Rylan Banks there in fourth. Kurt Schatzer there fifth. Eddie Patton in sixth. Mike Weeda there seventh. Trevor Garou in eighth. Terry Landis in ninth. Randy Shreve rolls off in 10th. Pat Boyce in 11th. Joe Halter in 12th. In 13th tonight, that's Steven Mixler with Jeff Sharp in 14th. Isaac Bowman in 15th. That is your starting grid here for the main event of your A&J Custom Creations Hometown Heroes. We'll get it here in just a moment here. Green flag is out. They're down and away. We continue to work on everything here, making sure we got you the best show possible. Down there through corner number 1 and 2. Templeton out there in front. I hear them running across there, trying to make sure I got everything set here on my end, so I can kind of make out where everything is. Out here through the corner, sorry, here, trying to get something figured out here on the back end as you're watching the race here. Great job here in the race so far. Everybody doing a great job here out of the corner. Brandon Templeton out there in front. Got Ryland Banks there in second. Come on, get up there, you. 16 laps to go out of the 25 here tonight. Trevor Garou there in third. Jeff Barker there fourth. The 56 there of Randy Shreves working on the bottom side of Jeff Barker as they work down there. Yeah, you see the 218. Kurt Schatzer working his way on through. Everybody worked down there off the corner. And the corner number 1, the 56 out there up on the high side. Randy Shreve. Got Trevor Garou there in third in that 75T. Trying to chase down Ryland Banks. And they battled it out there a little bit there at the beginning. Lap 13, or 13 laps to go now as they work here out of fourth. Steven Bixler there in 13th. Jeff Sharp there in 12th. Joe Halter there in 11th. Pat Boyce down there on the inside. And they work here off the corner. Pat Boyce there in 10th. Terry Landis there in 9th. Andy Patton in 8th. Mike Wheeler there in 7th. Jeff Barker in 6th. Kurt Schatzer 5th. Randy Shreves out there in 4th. Working on their way down through the backstretch up there against that high side, that 31 of Brandon Templeton. Working there off the corner down through the front stretch. Templeton here bringing it to 11 laps to go. You see Randy Shreve there in 4th, Kurt Schatzer there 5th, Jeff Barker, Mike Weedham, Andy Patton in 8th, Pat Boyce in 9th, Terry Landis rounding out your top 10. Working there off corner 4, Andy Patton there in 8th, Pat Boyce there 9th, Terry Landis in 10th, Jeff Sharp back here in 11th as they keep on rolling there. Through corner 4, Brandon Templeton bringing it back out here, bringing it to 9 to go. As Trevor Garou's there in in third, trying to chase down Ryland Banks, who's currently there in second. A driver really hanging it out there, trying to get up there. Man, them top 3 have really put a gap over top of Randy Shreves, who's sitting in 4th. Kurt Schatzer back here, 5th. Jeff Barker 6th. Mike Wheeler there in 7th now, bringing it up into 6th. He gets around Jeff Barker. Jeff Barker falling back into 7th. Andy Patton there in the 87, looking down here to the inside underneath of Barker. Barker getting a little bit of bounce there through 1 and 2. They're working on down here out into corner number 3 and 4. Working there off the corner. Hang on to it. Down there across the stripe they go. And you see that Andy Patton there going in the corner number 1 and 2. Back around onto the backstretch. I'm sorry, no. Yeah, on the backstretch. Down here through 3 and 4. Everybody's trying to hang it together. They work on off the corner. We got Jeff Sharp back here in that 028. He's looking underneath of the 161 of Terry Landis. Can't quite get up there to battle that position though. Pat Boyce in the 41 machine. He's looking to see if he can get underneath Barker. Barker has his hands full there trying to battle with Patton. Patton gets around. Here comes Boyce. Barker falling back here tonight. Up there on the top side of the speedway. 5 laps to go. Now 4 laps to go as Templeton brings it down across the stripe. Here in the corner number 1 and 2. Ryland Banks there in second. Down there out of corner number 2 they go. Templeton leading the way. Ryland Banks out there second. Trevor Guru in third. And they work on down out of corner number 3 and 4. Back out here onto the front stretch. Wasn't hearing myself there for a moment. I wasn't sure if I had the audio right. 2 laps to go here for the A&J Custom Creations Hometown Heroes. Brandon Templeton out there in front, down there in the corner number 1. Ryland Banks there in second. Trevor Guru in third in that 75T. Final lap for these 3 out front as they work down that backstretch of final time. Here in the corner number 3 and 4 in the limited late models. Up there against the outside wall. Guru can't quite make the run on Banks that he was hoping for. As they come down there in the corner number 1, starting the cool down lap. Brandon Templeton out there in front getting the win. Ryland Banks second, Trevor Guru in third. We'll get with your winners here momentarily. All right, here, let's see what we got here for our winners. Where'd that disappear to now? See if we can get them up here into the waiting room. We're looking here for Brandon Templeton, Ryland Banks, and Trevor Guru. All right, Trevor Guru, our third place finisher. Good evening here, Trevor. How's it going?
Good, yourself?
Oh, it's going pretty well. How do you think your race went?
I don't know, man. It was a handful, man. These cars up here on the top. It was interesting. It was hard to keep it out of the wall, but I mean that's where you kind of had to be fast. So it was fun. I mean, you can't lie. It was really fun up there, just kind of wheeling the car, doing a lot of work with the steering wheel, and yeah, it was fun.
So tonight, smoothness counted, right?
What's that?
Smoothness pretty much helped you if you could keep them corners smooth.
Yeah, big time. And like I'm sure you saw it, like a lot of us were getting into the wall there up top. It was just like pretty much who could keep the car off the wall the most. Like it was tough to run up there. You had to enter so high, and then the momentum just carried you pretty much into the wall. So yeah, I mean Brandon and Ryland did a hell of a job, and they were fast. I was giving it my all. I had nothing for either of those guys unless they made a mistake. So I saw Ryland peek down on Brandon there one time, and thought that was my chance to get above Ryland there on the outside. And I mean he kind of made that sort of a slider line work, and yeah.
I mean, a lot of great competition out there up front. Definitely looked great out there. You got sponsor shout-outs, anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, just all the guys at FTM, of course. Dean Reynolds with the Super Dirt Car Series, and thank Dean as well for doing the race control for us tonight. And shout out the top two guys, man, Brandon and Rylan. That was some fun racing. So shout out those guys. Shout out Big Tim Race Wraps, Arson Trackside, Shaggy TV, you Flieger for doing the broadcast for us, man. It's pretty cool to have you up here and broadcasting these and the pro lates on Thursdays. So thank you for that. Thanks everyone at C2C, Sam Wakanda Sets, Expert Installation, Kelsberg Flagstone, Swan Speed Shop. Everyone on this car, man. I'm sure I'm forgetting people, but everyone who comes on board my wraps and makes this stuff possible. Thanks my wife, my mom, dad, and thank you.
Alrighty, well, congrats, and we'll see how the rest of the night goes. Are you racing in the 360 sprints and the midgets coming up?
No, I'm gonna be done for the night. I gotta go do a couple things, and I'm not a fan of the sprints, honestly.
Alrighty, well, congrats here, getting third, and we'll see you next week as we take on more limited late models on Wednesday night.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, that was Trevor Guru. Now we'll get with Rylan Banks. Good evening here, Rylan. How's it going?
It's going good. How are you?
I'm doing well. How do you think your race went here tonight? It looked like that track slicked off quite a bit.
It did slick off. I was hoping that middle lane was still going to be there. It was kind of there in the heat race and practice, or the warm-up. But it went away, and it was just top side. But we could get some good speed rolling up there, and unfortunately, I just couldn't grab anything to catch up to Brandon.
Yeah, I know you guys were giving it your all. I mean, I don't know what's left of your right rear quarter panel of them cars. I mean, because you were up there against that wall quite a bit.
Yeah, no, I was trying to follow Brandon, and we just kept going higher up into the wall, and it just kept working. So we kept going for it. And I think Trevor, Brandon, and I were pretty checked out. It was a lot of fun trying to keep up with them.
Well, I know the three of you pretty much checked out over top of the field. You had almost 7-second gap over between, the top three back to seventh, or back in fourth place.
That's pretty good. I'm impressed with that.
So, it was pretty much a three-driver show tonight here up front.
Yeah, Trevor was gaining on me, and I was a bit worried I might have messed it up. I did try to make a move on Brandon at the end, but it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, you gave it your all. You got sponsor shout-outs. Anybody you want to thank for getting the second place here in the limited late models in the Hometown Heroes?
Yeah, I want to thank all the guys in the Discord that helped me out here. Matt Barber, Chad Lackey, Shane Billings, Brody Plotz, and Madeline. I want to thank sponsors Lens Cove, Gator Tough, Billings Motorsports, and Vertex Graphics. And I want to thank you, Adam, for streaming this, and the Coast to Coast, or Jeff and Dean for helping put it all together.
Well, congrats. And are you one and done tonight, or are you racing other series tonight?
We'll see. I'm not very great with these sprint cars, but maybe I'll run the midgets later. We'll see what happens.
Alrighty. Well, good luck if you do, and if you don't, we'll see you next Wednesday.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
That's Rylan Banks, our second place finisher from Victory Lane now. Our victory winner here, Brandon Templeton. How's it going tonight?
Pretty good. How about you, man?
Man, you had that car hooked up on that high side tonight.
Yeah, just, with underpowered cars, you got to keep momentum up, got to keep it in the throttle, and that was kind of the key. Anybody that tried to go down low, you were giving it up on exit. So keep it in the throttle, crossing over, and able to do that once on Rylan. But, he was honestly faster most of the night. He was really good. It was just a matter of track position.
Well, I know you did a great job getting that thing up there and to the front and really put on a show here tonight. Like I was telling Banks, you guys were the top three. You gapped back to fourth place by about 7 seconds.
Yeah, I didn't know that. It's kind of cool to have a big race with the no cautions always. That's fun to have happen. You actually get to race and see how it folds out at the end. So that was cool. I didn't realize that. It'd be neat to watch your broadcast back. So it'd be good.
Yeah, you definitely put a little bit of distance there. So it was pretty much you three battling it out. They both were giving it their all. Just unfortunately, they could not catch them rails you were putting down.
Yeah, at least I was able to represent on the podium for USA. I see they both have a Canadian flag by their name, so at least one of us got able to get up there.
Well, I mean, they gave it a good run. They definitely did. But like I said, you just apparently put them reels down just a little bit better.
Yeah, the guy's been working back at the shop. I gotta thank Jay with Dirt Track Bank, Extreme Images, Maley's Makery, Big C's Lawn Care, everybody with Hammer Down Racing. You guys know who you are. It's great racing with everybody, getting everyone back on the track. You know, Joe and Mike in the fold. It's a lot of fun. So thanks to you for putting on a good stream, and thanks to everyone watching at home.
Alrighty. Great job. And are you running any more series? Oh, he's gone. I was about to ask if we've got to run any more series tonight. But with that was Brandon Templeton, our winner here in the limited late models. When we come back, we will be with the 360 wing sprint cars. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back here in a while.
It's time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Kiss on the champion. Trying to be a bit of a hiatus, so let's get.
Tonight we'll be talking about it.
These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really expensive, so having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately, they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
All right, we're back here with the Coast2Coast Racing League. As you see, we're on track with the 360 sprint. We've got Jeff Barger out there with the quick time right now of a 15.698. Andy Patton with a 15.737. Dean Reynolds there in fifth. Fastest right now at 15.75. No, Dean able to run in this. I see him coming out down through the backstretch. There is Terry Landis in the 161. Yoo-hoo! Working down through the front stretch. Got the A&J Custom Creations machine there behind him. Trying to figure out who that is. I want to say that's the 87 of Andy Patton, and that it is. Hey, driver really putting on a bit of air. You see Jeff Barger in the 513. He's the fastest out there right now as they work on down through off the corner in the 1 and 2. Down through the backstretch. In through 3 and 4, you see him coming up off. They work there off the corner. Yeah, here we go, working there. Oh, hang on, here comes Reynolds. Looking to the inside there on Barker. Reynolds right now at a 15.750. Reynolds with a black flag, so his lap's not counting at the moment. Really putting on a great line there. As Lappy did get the count with a 15.750. And him coming down there against the bottom of the racetrack. Here comes Jeff Barger. Gonna get ready here very soon, I would think, for the start of the 360s. There is 710 there of Gavin Shaw. Terry Landis there in the... I'm sorry, that's Brian Moore in the 55, the 79, and Reynolds. There's the 161 there, Landis. Hey, checker flag is out. We will be getting started here with the 360 qualified. This is your A&J Custom Creations Hometown Heroes. Down the backstretch they go. Isaac Salas up there on the track. There you see the 513 of Barker. There's Andy Patton rolling down here in quarter number 3. Up off the corner down there in quarter number 1. Andy Patton getting a lap in there. You see the 161 Landis. Trying to find that line that works best. Reynolds with a 16.029 for his first lap. Brian Moore with a 16.285. Here comes Shaw. He's got a 16.130. Landis, we're currently watching him. He's got a 16.161. Coming there out of turn number 4, down the front straightaway in the corner number 1. Landis with a 16.161 is what he'll end with. Gavin Shaw with a 16.006. His quick time. We see Pat Boyce there in 8. Isaac Salas now jumps up there in the second with a 16.007. Ross Coyonta. Something like that. Ross there at 18, or I'm sorry, Ross in the number 10 machine has not come out to qualify. Hey, I want to thank all the sponsors here at FFTV and over at Coast2Coast, rather. We got 2 each. 6 in this heat, possibly 5 in the next one, if I'm thinking correct. I see Jeff Sharp will be your leader there. We'll get the grid up right now. Here is your starting grid for heat number 1. Jeff Sharp out there for the lead. Terry Landis there in second. Dean Reynolds third. Gavin Shaw in fourth. Fat Boys fifth. Steven Bixler in sixth. And working down there the back stretch. Everybody side by side. Working on through off the corner here out of 3 into 4. Jeff Sharp down there on the bottom side. Terry Landis down there as well in the 161. He's your second up there on the high side. Still under the yellow as they come down here through the start-finish line. Everybody just trying to get everything warmed up. I see him working here off of 2 down the back straightaway. Lights are out. Here we go. 6 drivers here in Heat 2. I see him work there in the turn 3 and 4. Green flag will be coming out as they come around here onto the front stretch. There we go. Loud pedals get pressed. We are down and away. Green flag is now out as they work down here in the corner number 1. Down there on the bottom side, you see Jeff Sharp getting a great start there. But here comes Reynolds there in second. He's going to get a run there as well, getting underneath the Landis. Now he's going to see if he can squeeze it underneath. Sharp can't quite get there. Sharp holds the lead. Down here in the corner number 1 and 2. And off of 2, down the back straight away. Reynolds up there on the high side. Landis down on the inside. Sharp is still hanging strong out there in the front with Reynolds there in a third. Reynolds getting up there to the high side, see if he can get a little bit more momentum. Here comes Sharp, nothing there yet. Down there on the inside, Landis still trying to bring it along there. In a second is now Landis down there on the bottom side. Here comes Reynolds. He's getting that top side to hook up. Up there on the top. Little bit of bounce going on up there at the top. Little bit of rough racing. But there you see, they're getting around Sharp as Landis now sees the line that Reynolds is running. He's going to try to implement that, or maybe not. That now they work down the front stretch. Landis now does go up to about mid-track as they work down there out of 2. Down the back stretch, here comes Landis up there on that high line. Getting up there around the outside of Sharp. Sharp hanging on down there on the bottom side. last lap here for Reynolds as he comes here out of turn number 4. Down the back straightaway here out of 3 and 4 now. Comes Reynolds with Landis there behind him. Jeff Sharp there was 3rd. I see everybody getting the finish there. Your results will be in just a moment. Driver did a great job here in heat number 1. Here is your results for heat number 1. Dean Reynolds out there in front. Terry Landis there in 2nd. Terry Landis 2nd, Jeff Sharp there 3rd, Gavin Shaw there 4th, Pat Boyce there 5th, and 6th. That's going to be Stephen Bixler. Now, on to your grid for heat number 2. Going to be Brian Moore out there in front, Jeff Barker in 2nd, Randy Shreves there in 3rd, Isaac Salas in 4th, Andy Patton in 5th, with Ross there in 6th. That's him working down there out of the corner. We have 6 drivers here in heat number 2. So 12 drivers here tonight in the Hometown Heroes 360s. Now you watch them coming there out of the bottom, up off the corner. Green flag soon in the air. Here we go. 6 laps to go here in heat number 2. There you see that 513 of Jeff Barker already up there ripping that high side if he can. Down here in the 3 and 4. Out there in, whoa, and he gets collected, and up and over goes Jeff Barker. Not how he wanted to end his heat race here. He crashes out of it. That's going to make him start towards the back. Down through the backstretch. Brian Moore out there in that 055, getting out there in front. Andy Patton now has crashed. So that brings it down to 4 drivers as Ross is down there in 3rd. Down there running that bottom side, going to slide it up there into the top. Down here now onto the bottom side once again. Trying to keep that momentum high, sliding it up off. Right there behind the 56 of Randy Shreves. Randy Shreves right there behind the 55. Brian Moore working there off the corner down through the backstretch in the corner number 3 and 4. Here goes the 56 of Randy Shreves. He's going to see if he can get underneath. Brian Moore cannot quite get there that time. He does this time, but cannot pull the slider yet. As they work there off the corner of 2, down backstretch, they drag race down in the corner number 3 and 4. Now he's got the room. Can he bring it up off? He will do so. Randy Shreves to the lead here for the final lap. And here comes Ross down there on the inside as well. He's going to try to make that inside work. This is quite interesting. And he brought up in front of Brian Moore. Brian Moore now in trouble there. He had trouble down. He hangs on to 3rd place. Isaac Salas there in 5th. Randy Shreves, great run out there in front. Ross there in 2nd, really making that bottom side work for him. We'll get on to Heat 2 results right here. Randy Shreves out there in 1st. Ross there in 2nd. Brian Moore 3rd. Isaac Salas there 4th. Jeff Barker 5th. Andy Patton 6th. We'll be right back after these important messages from warm-up.
these dollars had come together to support us, and we realized no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. In the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive. So having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they've done for me. This last Sunday I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
All right, we're back here with your main event here tonight. Your grid as we see it. That's going to be Dean Reynolds there in the front. Randy Shreves in second. Terry Landis third. Ross there fourth. Jeff Sharp will start fifth. Brian Moore in sixth. Gavin Shaw in 7th, Isaac Salas there 8th, Pat Boyce in 9th, Jeff Barker 10th, Stephen Bixler in 11th with Andy Patton there in 12th. Starting there in 13th, that's going to be, I'm sorry, that is the whole class, or grid, however you want to call it. Yeah, we got it all gooped up. There we go, now we got it gone away. 25 laps the distance here for the A&J Custom Creations Hometown Heroes. I see him work down there off the corner. Why is my game not showing up there? That's kind of... There we go. Now we got it. Kind of weird. And we head on out here. Great start here by the drivers down in the corner number 3 and 4. Randy Shreves out there in second now. We get off to a great start. Here comes Landis down there on the bottom side. Shreve's going to hang on to second, though, as Reynolds now out there to the front. Look out, though. Ross has been showing some great speed here. And he's got up there to the top side of Landis. Not quite. Might get there right here as they come through turn 3 and 4. Up there on, turn 3 and 4. Yellow flag is out. Jeff Barker, Stephen Bixler, along with Brian Moore, all involved. Go ahead and check his out. And see him come there off corner number 4 down there. And look out. Oh, there it is. Oh! A 55 there. Brian Moore just skips across the wheel. Jeff Barker back there trying to get it back into gear, having issues there. Hey, then we're all running now. Dean Reynolds and everybody back here. 23 laps to go for the A&J Custom Creations Hometown Heroes 360 Sprint Cars Division. Lead driver looking great so far. No cautions in the limited lates. First caution here within the first 2 laps of the 360 Sprint. Down here off the corner they go. Looks like they're going to get lined back up side by side. Lights are out on that pace machine. Reynolds as your control car. Shreves up there on the high side. Now you watch them come down through the backstretch in the corner number 1 and 2. And we're here off the corner down the front straightaway. Green flag is out in the corner number 1 and 2 they go. Reynolds up there on the high side. Here comes Randy Shreves along with Ross there in a third. Terry Landis in fourth. Trying to battle out. I had to get on the binders there a little bit as they work down there out of corner number 2 down here in the corner number 3 and 4. Up here off of 4 now down across the stripe. 21 laps to go here for Reynolds as he leads it. Randy Shreves there in second. Ross there in third. Terry Landis there in fourth. Jeff Sharp in fifth. As you see them working on down through there. Look at Rosso. He has a great run going here tonight. He started there at the back of his heat. Did not qualify. He rolls out here. Rolling down here out of the corner. There you see Ross looking to the inside of Shreves down here through turn 1 and 2. He'll get that position for the moment. As now here comes Shreves. Shreves had to really try to get it lined up there. Couldn't quite get the line that he needed. That car ended up a little bit squirrely, so now he's got to try to gather it back up, get back in line. There with Ross. Randy Shreves now back to third. Getting a little wiggle out of that machine. That'll just slow you down a little bit here on the dirt. Dean Reynolds out there in front. Wonder if he's a little bit worried about Ross, as Ross just looks so dang smooth there in second place right now. Trying to chase down Reynolds up there at the front. And I'm looking there at the gap, and the gap slowly closes there through the corner. And it looks like Ross is a little quicker, and here he goes to the lead. He gets it up and around Dean Reynolds. Reynolds now cutting down underneath. He's going to try to get under there. He's going to slide it back, get the crossover. He'll slide it back up there and get up there towards the top. But Ross brings it back down there to the inside. They're now going to cross over once again here in the corner number 1 and 2. Down the backstretch, up there at the top. Ross now once again in the lead. Reynolds now falls in behind as he's now up there in the top side. Has to try to find that momentum once again to get up there to battle with Ross. But Ross showing some amazing speed here tonight. He just put some more gap between him and Reynolds. Worked there out of corner number 2 down that back straightaway into corner number 3 and 4. You'll see him. He'll run top through turns 3 and 4. Then he'll end up running. Oh, no, he ran top there through 1 and 2. I thought maybe he was going to try that slider line again. Entering low, exiting high through turn 1 and 2, but he didn't. They stay up there toward the top side, and you can see that track kind of slicked off there through the middle once again here tonight. As you see Jeff Sharp back there in the 028, Terry Landis there in 5th. As they work down here out of the corner in the corner number 3 and 4, back off here. I'm sorry, they're working off a turn 2 here. Ross working off 3 and 4 down the front stretch in the corner number 1. Off of 2, Dean Reynolds trying everything he can to try to get up there to Ross, but as we said, Ross started at the back of his heat and drove his way up through, and now he's up here leading the way in the A&J 360 Sprint Car Division. And it brought to you by A&J Custom Creations with the hometown heroes. They're out for tonight. Yeah, that car 79 really hooked up also. That's Dean Reynolds. They battled on down through here. And up into the outside wall goes Dean. That'll help Ross get away a little bit. Randy Shreves here out in 3rd. Isaac Salas there in 4th. Terry Landis back here in 5th. Jeff Sharp, he's got company from Pat Boyce. Boyce looks to the outside here through turn 3 and 4. Will do so. Coming there off the corner. Drag race down there to the line. Boyce will get 6th place over top of Jeff Sharp, but Jeff Sharp not giving up as they get a little wiggly coming there off of 2. Boyce then on to 6th place with Jeff Sharp battling down there on the inside. There you see Gavin Shaw back here in the 710. They're working down there on the inside. You got Ross up there in front, leading the way. There you see Stephen Bixler back there in the number 75 with the 055 of Brian Moore down there on the inside. 5 laps to go here in your main event of the 360 Sprint Division. I want to thank A&J Custom Creations for helping put tonight's show on the board. There you see him coming there out of corner number 4 down the front straightaway. You got the 5 of Salas going underneath. The 56 of Shreves. Can he make it happen? Doesn't look as of yet. Down there off of 2. He's going to bring it back up in line. Go back up there to the top side. Give us a nice little grind going there in the corner 3. Up there against the top side. Ends up bumping that outside wall. Coming there out of 4. Up there once again. Giving us another grind through 1 and 2. He gets around Shreves. So Isaac Salas now up in the 3rd spot. Dean Reynolds there in 2nd with Ross out front. Coming up there to the back of the pack. Coming through the back of the pack, rather. As he's up there on the top side. 2 laps to go. As he Ross is up there, and it's a 2nd gap. Possibly going to be about a 2.5 seconds when this is said and done here as they work through lap traffic. Dean Reynolds there in 2nd. Ross up there in front. Coming out of turn 4. Checkered flag in the air. It will be Ross getting the win here tonight. As you see, Dean Reynolds in 2nd. Isaac Salas is in 4th. Not sure what happened there. See if we can rewind it and see what happened there to Salas. Why, he might have lost it. Maybe not enough fuel. He just ends up getting passed on the outside coming to the line. Your winner is Ross. I'm going to have to ask him how to say that last name. Dean Reynolds 2nd, Randy Shreves 3rd. That is your lineup for your winners. All right, we'll start with Randy Shreves, hopefully. See where Randy is. There we go. Catching up with Randy Shreve, now our third place finisher. Good evening there, Randy. How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad.
Kind of take us through. I'm not sure exactly. Did Salas run out of fuel there at the end?
No, he just kind of, I think he got into the wall or something. He did the same thing I did. I don't know, it was just tough riding that high side, and yeah, I think he just kind of lost it a little bit. But if it wasn't for that, I definitely wouldn't be on the podium, because I made that same mistake a couple laps before, and that's how he got by me.
Well, you did a great job at least holding your line there them last few laps, being in position to capitalize on the mistakes like most of us try to do in dirt track racing.
Yeah, definitely wish I could have done a little better. I kind of screwed up my car a little bit there at the beginning, because I made that mistake more than once getting into that wall, and it messed with my steering. So yeah, after Ross got by me, I think that's when I knew I wasn't getting back up there, and just kind of settled for third or fourth.
You handled yourself well, and I mean, great job tonight getting that third place. You got sponsors, shout-outs, anybody you want to thank getting the third place here in the 360s?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely want to thank everybody at Coast to Coast, you for the broadcast, my son Dylan Shoes for painting my car, my buddy Mike McCoy for watching, my boss Jeff Span and his wife, his daughter, everybody else that watches and supports me, and yeah, just want to thank everybody for watching.
Alrighty, well, congrats here tonight, getting that third place, and we'll see you in future races. I'm sure. I can't wait to see what next week might hold. But are you running midgets tonight?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and give them a try also. They're fun.
Alrighty, well, we'll see you in the midgets.
Alrighty.
Alright, out with Randy Shreve. Now we'll get with Dean Reynolds. Good evening there, Dean. How's it going?
What's going on, Mr. Flieger?
Not a whole lot, man. I thought maybe you had something there earlier on in the race, but man, you ended up a second tonight.
Well, they don't call Ross Carenta the boss for nothing. So, I mean, yeah, when Ross came into the field, I said, well, we're all racing for second. But, you know, when you get that top, though, like that, and get a top dominant, you just don't know what could happen. I mean, I was hanging with him there for a little bit, and then I drove it right in the turn one wall and rode it all the way to turn two, and I just lost the whole straightaway on him. And I go, well, there goes the race right there. But, you know, you just wait to see if he's going to do it. And because you never know, because with the bumps and everything and the speed you're carrying, because you're flying. I mean, I ran most of that race. I don't think I lifted that much at all, you know, during that whole 25 laps. So anything can happen. But, you know, Ross is so good, and nothing happened, so we'll take our second place.
Well, and I know you touched on it there a moment. Kind of take us through, what were the bumps like tonight here at Port Royal? I know both in the late models and in these. We saw the cars bouncing quite a bit.
Yeah, it wasn't horrible. You know, I mean, the bump caused me to get into the wall, but I've had them worse here, and the cushion really had a lot of grip, too, so you could actually drive it right through the bumps, staying on the gas. The bumps really affect you when you have to get off the gas, because then the car kind of like digs in and doesn't go over the bumps. But if you can stay on the gas and keep your wheel spin going, it kind of smooths them out. So it wasn't horrible. So, you know, it made it for fun.
Well, congrats on second place here tonight in the 360s. Are we going to see you in the midgets?
No, I don't do the little people. I told you that before.
You don't do the little things.
I don't do the little people. No, I call it a night right there. I've never really felt comfortable in the midgets like some other people, so I just I only run the cars I feel comfortable in. And you know, when you're old like me, Adam, you only got so many good races left, so I don't want to do it in the midgets. So I'll stay out of the way and not ruin their race. So you know, this will be it for tonight.
Alrighty, well, congrats there and for your second place. You got other sponsors, shout out to anybody you want to thank?
Oh, yeah, I got to thank the guys from FTM. You know, awesome group of guys to be with them. Proud to be a part of that team. Always got to thank Gavin Chatham for helping me out with sprint car sets, especially on this fixed stuff. He's really good on the throttle control and teaches you. Always got to thank Patrick Spangler for helping me out in the open sets back when I was really starting to learn the sprint cars, and he was a big help. And so I've got to thank A&J Custom Creations, Andy Patton for doing the sponsorship, because with him sponsoring, you're here doing the limited late models and doing the sprint cars, and got to thank you and Regal Wraps and Designs for sponsoring the midgets. So the midgets are televised, and for you to give us a good broadcast. And I got to poke a little fun. We got to thank Isaac Salas's fiance Kelsey for letting Isaac race with us. So it was good to see Isaac Salas in the field tonight.
All righty. Well, great job, and we'll see. We'll see you tomorrow night then with the.
We're gonna see you on the track tomorrow.
Well, I hope to be on the track tomorrow. That's the plan.
Yeah, well, that's the only way to get better, man. I know you sent me that message and everything. Adam, just get some laps, and it'll start coming back to you.
Well, I mean, it's tough. I mean, I don't have the speed right now to compete with guys that are 3K high rating.
Well, there's a lot of good guys in this league, but we all grew up together. I mean, I started Coast to Coast, 3 years ago, and I remember I didn't qualify for like the first 10, 15 races with them. I was god awful, but you just get your laps, you find your comfort zone, and go learn.
Well, we'll see. Maybe it was just that track. We'll see.
All right, my friend. You be good.
All righty. We'll see you tomorrow night there, Dean.
Thanks, Adam. Take care, man.
All right, that was Dean Reynolds, our second place. Now we'll get with our victory lane. Ross, how's it going?
Not bad. How about you?
I'm doing fairly well. Can you kind of explain how to say that last name of yours?
It's Corinta. Like the Y is an I. It's the easiest way to explain it.
Okay, Corinta. Okay.
Yep, there you go.
All right. I've been looking at that before, and I'm like, I'm not quite sure. Corey.
Yeah, no, all good. You're not going to be the first one that's ever butchered the last name. So.
Well, you did a great job tonight, man. You had some speed under that machine tonight.
Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, the new iRacing setups and my racing style jive really well together. So it's really easy to just keep the car under control, basically wherever I want it to be. And obviously, when you're doing the sim racing stuff, that's first and foremost the most important thing is comfortability. So.
Well, I noticed you didn't qualify tonight and ended up starting last in your heat. Was that by choice, or did you miss qualifying?
Well, actually, I ran to the bathroom quick, and then I came back, and I saw there was 30 seconds left. So I'm just like, wow, whatever. I'll just leave it be and see what I can do from the back. It's not like it was a huge field tonight, so it's not like I was going to be starting, 8th or 10th in the heat. So luckily the car count was a little lower tonight, and I was able to drive up a little in the heat and start. Was it 4th in the feature? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, you got it clear up in the second, from 6th to 2nd in your heat, and then from 2nd up here to the win in the feature.
Yeah.
You did a great job tonight. I mean, that car just looked great and really hooked up there on the top side for you. You got sponsors, shout-outs, anybody you want to thank?
Phantom Motorsports guys, Velocity Race Design.
From 6th to 2nd.
Everybody at Coast to Coast, that keeps this league going. A&J Customs for sponsoring this race tonight. I also want to give a shout out to all our service people. I don't know if it gets said enough, but thank you to everybody. Andy himself, Barker, I believe in the league. I'm sure I'm missing a bunch, but just present and past, future service people for us. I think it goes unappreciated a little bit, and just want to give a shout out to them and just make sure they know that they're appreciated. So.
Alrighty, well, congrats on the win here in the 360 sprints. Are you coming out for the midgets at all?
I'm not sure. I'm assuming Dean said he's going to run Aces Up. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do the same thing. So.
Alrighty. Well, you have yourself a great night there, Ross, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Thank you.
Alrighty. That was Ross, our winner here from Victory Lane in the 360 sprints. We're going to end up taking a short break here. We'll be back after these messages with the midgets, brought to you by Regal Wraps and Designs. That was Ross, our winner here from Victory Lane in the 360 sprint. We're going to end up taking a short break here. We'll be back after these messages.
It's time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Kiss on the champion. Trying to be a bit of a hiatus, so let's get.
Tonight we'll be talking about it.
These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. In the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive. So having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
Here we are back at the racetrack. We're getting ready for the midgets here tonight. They get set to rock and roll. Let's see here. Let's see how qualifying goes about. You see them here tonight. And it's brought to you by Real Wraps and Designs. Watch them come down there in corner number 1. We're here at a different track, obviously. That's why it took us some time to get here. We're here at, let me remember. Obviously dirt track, but I gotta remember which one. As we are here with this race, or race number 3, or week number 3 rather. We are here at Lanier. That is where we are. We are here at Lanier. So, great job here so far as we see Jeff Barker out there. We got 9 cars out here, 9 midgets. So, small field. We're hoping to see this grow, though. So, if you're interested in running midgets here at Coast to Coast, let them know. As I'm sure they would be willing to have some more drivers come in to make a larger field of these. We see everybody put in a qualifying time. Templeton with a 14.498. Jack Hitt with a 14.661. Terry Landis with a 14.669. Randy Shreves with a 14.880. Jeff Barker with a 15.148. And that'll wrap it up there for qualifying. One heat will be what I would assume we're going to have. Yep. One heat. Here is your starting grid. Randy Shreves out there getting the start with Terry Landis there in second. Jack Hitt in third. Brandon Templeton will roll off there in fourth. Jeff Barker fifth. Mike Weeda in sixth with Steven Bixler in seventh. Pat Boyce there in eighth with Joe Halter rounding out your top 9 or your 9 drivers here tonight. We're here at Lanier. And see Randy Shreves, your pole sitter. We got Terry Landis there in second. Jack Hitt there third. Brandon Templeton there in fourth. Well, wait. Trying to see here. Got a couple that didn't take the... Well, no, they all took the grid. Okay. There we go. Track's already got some slick spots in it. And see there through the corner. Randy Shreves, your control car out there. Terry Landis up there in the second. Jack Hitt third. With Brandon Templeton there fourth. Now, these things are always fun to watch go around the speedway. I know I've driven them a few times myself. They are a blast to run. And them coming here off corner number 4. Pace cars in. Green flags out. They're down and away down here in the corner number 1. And down here out of 2, there we see Shreves getting off to an early lead. But look out, here comes Landis down there. Oh, I'm sorry, no, that's the 217. Jack Hitt down there on the bottom. Into the middle goes Landis as they work there off the corner. Randy Shreves up there on the top side in machine number 56. There you see the 31 of Templeton working down there in the corner at number 4. Way up there against that outside wall. We got Landis down there on the inside trying to bring it on down through there. Now up into the outside wall goes both Templeton and Shreves. Now you're looking there at 55-13 of Jeff Barker. Down there on the bottom side goes Terry Landis up into the outside. Oh no, we got them up and over. That is Steven Bixler going up and over and upside down. Down here in the corner number 3 and 4, trying to battle it out down there on the bottom side. Terry Landis down there on the bottom as well. As you see up there on the top side, that's the Hooters machine of Jack Hitt. As you see Landis getting that bottom to work in some ways. Now they come there off the corner, working down here on the bottom side for Landis. As Landis is still fighting for second position, trying to get up there into the lead. Yeah, you see him, that bottom side working there as they come side by side off of corner 4. Results, that's going to be Jack Hitt. Landis, though, not too far off of him. Now they work down through the backstretch there for the cool-down lap. Your Heat 1 results coming in here in just a moment. Here is your Heat 1 results. Jack Hitt getting the win. Terry Landis there second. Brandon Templeton there third. Joe Halter there fourth. Jeff Barker fifth. Randy Shreves in sixth. Pat Boyce there in seventh. Mike Weeda in eighth. All right. Warm-ups underway here, and we'll stay here. We'll go ahead and take a lap here inside one of these machines if we can get it to work. See if we got camera that'll let us do so. Not quite. Alright, we got the camera mounted up on the roll bar here of Brandon Templeton as he's way up there against the outside wall. Really feathering that throttle. Now Jack hit. Also feathering that throttle quite a bit up there at the top side. Now he's down there on the bottom. Templeton, your fastest one out there right now. There you see in front of him is Landis. Terry Landis up here in this pink and yellow machine. Or purple and yellow. And work down through turn 1 and 2. And it's going to be an interesting race here tonight for sure. And watch him work down the backstretch up there against the high side. Down here through 3 and 4. Hang on to it. Landis ends up a little bit more sideways than probably what he would like to see. Templeton out there in the front. There's Jack hit. Randy Shreves out here. We do have a minute left of warm-ups. Barker and Halter have not taken the did not come out for warm-up. These minutes are, like we said, a blast to try to watch and run. Especially if you can get a big group of them. They are something to watch. There, watch Randy Shreves there in the third spot, or third fastest rather. And you see the times out there set in warm-ups. Randy Shreves with a 14.721. Brandon Templeton with a 14.450. Jack hit with a 14.695. As warm-ups have come to a close. We'll be getting ready for the grid. Now here is your starting grid for the main event. Jack hit out there gets pole position. Terry Landis in second. Brandon Templeton in their third. Joe Halter in fourth. Jeff Barker in fifth. Randy Shreves there sixth. Pat Boyce there in seventh. Mike Weeda in eighth. Stephen Mixler in ninth. All right, that'll do it here. And we had them on off. Jack hit out there in front as your control car. Landis in second. Templeton there third. New driver really getting ready to send it on out. And the 217 there of Jack hit. Terry Landis there second. Brandon Templeton, as we said, starting third. Joe Halter starting fourth. Randy Shreves starting fifth. Lights are out. We're going to be going back in green flag race when they come out of four this time. And we're out through the front. Here they go. Green flags in the air. They're down and away. In the corner, number one, they go. Down there on the bottom side. Goes Jack hit. Terry Landis ends up falling back a little bit up there on the high side. Here we go with the main event for the Regal Wraps and Designs. Hometown Heroes Midgets. Well, we got A&J Custom Creations sponsoring the whole night here for the whole series. Now you come down out of the corner. Here we go. off the corner. Landis looking down there on the bottom side. Working through that slick stuff. Jack hit up there on the top side. Landis really getting up there and making that work. Pat Boyce up into the outside wall. Ends up towing it back to the pits. No caution as it got moved before it became an issue for the field. Terry Landis out there in the front now with Jack Hitt in second. Here comes Brandon Templeton now underneath Jack Hitt. Jack Hitt down there in second. 20 laps to go. Brandon Templeton finds himself in second place, working there off the corner, gets that slider up in front of Jack Hitt. Jack Hitt had to back off a moment. Now he's going to try to cross over. No, he won't. As he works down there through the middle of the turn, there you see down there on the bottom side, the 513 of Jeff Barker. He's working through the slick stuff as well. As Terry Landis, he's really showing off his skill set down there on the bottom side of the racetrack. Getting that thing to pivot the way he needs to. Doesn't want to rotate it too much. Just enough to get it around the corner. And work there off. You see Templeton up there on the high side. Templeton making that outside work. These two battling out in the heat. They're going to end up battling it out again here in the feature. As Templeton ends up there on the top side. 17 laps to go and closing. And it looks like, well, so hard to tell whether that gap shortens or lengthens as they both have a great line around the racetrack right now. Templeton right now might have a little bit more of an edge up there on the top side as they work down here through turns 3 and 4 here with 16 laps to go. Templeton way up there against that outside wall down there on the bottom side. Still Terry Landis as they come there off the corner. Down across the backstretch. Terry Landis up there, down there in the bottom. With Jack Hitt back here in third. Randy Shreves fourth. Templeton up there on the high side. He will get by Landis. Landis falls back into second place now. As, oh no, Templeton up there on the top side. Templeton had to race himself back into this kind of. Or no, I'm sorry, it wasn't him. Pat Boyce down in the pits. Barker down here on the bottom side. Randy Shreves there in fourth. Jack Hitt there in third. Randy Shreves, he's working there below Jack Hitt now as he gets up there, tries to battle for third spot down there on the bottom side. Side by side, coming there off the corner. Jack Hitt possibly has the move there. Now you see Randy Shreves battling there to the bottom side. Here he goes, getting a little bit more momentum down there in the corner number 3 and 4. Try to run it up there a little higher, try to get that momentum up. 11 laps to go here for these drivers as Brandon Templeton is your race leader. Terry Landis here in second. Jack Hitt back here third. And then we got Randy Shreves fourth. Jeff Barker back here in fifth. Jeff's down there on the inside, trying to make that inside work. And they saw Terry Landis do a little while ago. Now Landis is up there kind of mid to high line now with 10 laps to go. Oh, take that back. Down there on the bottom. He's going to slide it on up. Going to run a short slider there through the corner as they work down here in the corner number 1 and 2. Running that high side, coming down now. Now he's running a little bit of a cut down off of 2. Up here to the top side. He'll run up there at the top. Go way around 3 and 4. Down here on the bottom side. Now here comes Randy Shreves. There in 4th, and now he goes up there to the top side. Jeff Barker hasn't really left the bottom down there, as that's where he seems to be most comfortable. 7 laps to go for Templeton as Templeton comes back down into corner number 1. Terry Landis here in second. Jack Hitt third. There you see Randy Shreves up into the outside wall. Jeff Barker back here in 5th. Mike Wheeler in 6th. Joe Halter back here in 7th. And Stephen Mixler in 8th. Pat Boyce still in the pits as they work down there through turn 1 and 2. Back onto the backstretch. Templeton's coming out of turn 4. Down across the stripe. 5 laps to go for Templeton. Terry Landis, as well as he comes there out of the corner. He definitely lost ground. As now Jack Hitt gets up here, and he's battling his way up into the top 2 again. Here comes Jack Hitt down there to the low side. Going to try to bring it on in front. Does he have the room? He will do so. Now he's up there in the second place. Landis now looks back to the bottom side. Can't quite get there the way he needs to. And now Randy Shreves closes in up there with Terry Landis. Terry falls back in the 4th. 3 laps to go. Templeton out there in front. Jack Hitt there second. Randy Shreves there in 3rd. Oh, I'm sorry, no, Landis up in the 3rd now. Shreve's trying to hang on to it as he works there through 3 and 4. Down there on the bottom side, once again, is Landis. As Landis got that bottom side hooked up once again for himself as he's trying to get back under Jack Hitt. Up there through the backstretch. Here they go, down into corner number 3. Brandon Templeton has this one wrapped up out there in front by about 6 seconds or more as they roll around here out the top side. Jack Hitt down there trying to run that top side. Shreve's trying to get around Landis as they come here out of the corner. Landis down there on the bottom side. It's Landis for second. Jack Hitt there for third. As then we got Randy Shreve rounding out your top 4. What a finish there for Terry Landis. Fighting himself back into second place. Great job here in the midgets tonight. All right, we'll see if we got with the winners. Hey, driver did a wonderful job here tonight as we look down on them here in victory lane. Hey, driver, what a night here of racing it was. Waiting on Templeton, Landis, and Hitt. See if they come here into the waiting room. Try to see if we can catch them somewhere. Man, oh man, what a night there for Landis. There's Jack Hitt. Good evening, Jack. How's it going?
Good. How you doing, Adam?
I'm doing well, man. What a race tonight.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun side by side with Terry there the whole way, and I know Randy was trying to come up on us there too.
Well, you did a great job battling there with Landis. I know you were trying to get up there in the second, but unfortunately Landis seemed to find something there on the bottom side.
Yeah, that's always where he's finding something. I think I might have held him off there to the line if I didn't hold the throttle down and put myself in the wall coming out of 4. But kudos to him for being there. I don't know why he left the bottom in the first place. Probably wouldn't have been there to race him if he didn't.
All right. Well, I mean, you did a great job getting third tonight. What's your feelings on how slick this track became tonight?
Track was awesome. I'm one of the guys, I like a slick track. I think it makes it a little racier. It makes us run different lines, and there's not just that one favorable line. But, yeah, it's a good track. I don't know, for some reason, as soon as we came out for that feature, I just didn't feel comfortable those first, 15 or so laps, and then things started to feel a little better toward the end there. But it was definitely a loose car.
Well, you got any sponsor shout-outs? Anybody you want to thank for getting you into third place tonight?
Got to thank Regal Wrapping Designs for allowing us to have this broadcasted. Of course, broadcasted by you. I got to thank all the guys showing up, putting on good races. Except Brandon. Terry said Brandon was out there somewhere. I don't know if I believe it or not, but. And then everybody behind the scenes making the thing go around.
Alrighty, yeah. But I can confirm Brandon was out there, probably a good 6.5 seconds ahead of you.
On a different track, right? Was he running the inside?
I don't know what he was running.
All right, thanks Adam.
Alrighty, you have yourself a great night there, Jack, and we'll see you next week.
Yep, thanks, bud.
All right, that was Jack Hitt. Now we'll give Brandon Templeton our victory winner here, as I'm not sure if Landis will be in or not. All right, good evening here, Templeton. How's it going? You there, Brandon?
Can you hear me?
There, we got you.
Yeah, pretty good after that one.
Well, you had a struggle there with Landis in the heat. I was worried about we were going to carry through into the feature.
Yeah, he definitely had some speed there on the bottom. I didn't know if the top was going to go away. I did get in the wall once there and kind of give him back some space when we were side by side. But overall, really fun race. There was 2 lines and they were both really tricky, so that's all you can ask for. Pretty good race.
It was a great race to watch. And how'd you think your car felt tonight?
In 3 and 4, I was just absolutely flat-footed and just holding the wheel steady, and it was cruising right around on that, thin line of traction there up on the wall. And 1 and 2, it was really, really tricky. If you tried to slide it in low, you'd slide up into the guardrail, but if you got clear up into the marbles real early, just off the straightaway, it would help you kind of propel through the middle. So that was what I was trying to do.
Well, I mean, yeah, number 31 looked really good out there, and kind of how you look like you felt comfortable there in the seat as well. Great job.
Yeah, appreciate it. Been fighting through some technical issues with audio and stuttering and stuff like that, but I think they're related, so at least I'm getting progress there.
Well, hopefully. I know there, but when they updated iRacing, I ran about that first week or so without any in-game UI, so I didn't know where anybody was.
Yeah, it definitely throws you for a loop when everything changes and you're real comfortable, and then it's like getting in a whole different car.
Well, it wasn't just that. Like I said, I didn't have nothing. Like, there was no heads-up display at all.
Yeah, that's a bummer, man. That'd make it real tough.
I mean, I did it. You just got to be really, really aware of your track surroundings at that point.
Yeah, for sure. Give everybody just a little more space and, yeah, be aware. But got to thank Jay with Dirt Track Bank, Extreme Images, Maley's Makery, Big C's Lawn Care, Hogan Lawn and Landscape, everybody Hammer Down Racing, Joe, Kurt, Brian, Mike, just everybody helping out. You for putting on a good stream, everybody at Coast to Coast, and everybody watching. Thanks.
Alrighty, well, congrats there, Brandon, and we'll see you tomorrow night in the Thursday Night Thunder?
I think so.
Alrighty, well, I'm hopefully going to be on track racing the modifieds. We'll see how well it goes.
All right, we'll give you the fender.
Alrighty. I look forward to it. That's if you're around me. I might be at the back. Alrighty, well, that was Brandon Templeton, our winner here tonight. I don't see Terry anywhere. Great job there by him as well. Thank you all for tuning in to Coast to Coast Racing Network. Having a great show here tonight. Templeton taking home the win here in the midgets. A lot of great racing action here tonight. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll catch you later. Bye-bye.